Your outermost layer of brain cells, the cerebral cortex, is divided into 4 sections or lobes: frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital. Each lobe has a different function, and while they work independently, they also work together to make you, well, you. Some scientists even say that each lobe has its own type of consciousness. Let's see what they mean by that. The frontal lobe is all about making plans, setting goals, and making decisions based on those goals. It allows you to be self-aware, consider how your actions affect others, and weigh the risks and benefits of certain actions. You can also use logic and rational thought to understand ideas and concepts and control your emotions. Without the frontal lobe, you wouldn't be able to create those New Year's resolutions or stick to your diet on a weight loss journey. And unlike the other lobes, the frontal lobe continues to develop throughout your life. That's why teenagers often act so impulsively. Their frontal lobes aren't fully developed yet. The parietal lobe processes sensory information like touch, temperature, pain, and pressure from all over the body. It also helps with navigation and spatial awareness. For example, if you reach out to pet a dog, your parietal lobe integrates the visual input of seeing the dog with the somatosensory input of feeling its fur. It allows you to recognize where different parts of your body are in space without having to think about it. If you were trying to eat with a fork, this would allow you to bring the fork to your mouth without having to figure out each individual movement of your fingers and the position of your arm. But perhaps most importantly, the parietal lobe allows you to understand how your own body is positioned in relation to other people and objects around you. This is called body awareness or proprioception. It lets you know where your body parts are in space without needing to see them. It also plays a role in how we perceive the passage of time. Your parietal lobe receives input from your internal body clock, which tells you whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening. The temporal lobe is responsible for processing auditory information. This includes sounds you hear with your ears, but also the sense of balance you get from the fluid in your inner ear. The temporal lobe is also important for storing memories and recognizing familiar people, places, and things. It also allows you to understand the meaning of words and sentences, which lets you communicate with other people. Damage to the temporal lobe can lead to difficulty with memory, hearing, and language. Finally, the occipital lobe is responsible for processing visual input from your eyes. It recognizes shapes, colors, brightness, and movement. When you look at an apple, for example, your occipital lobe allows you to perceive the redness of the apple as well as its round shape. It also works with other parts of the brain to help you recognize faces. All of these functions of the occipital lobe happen almost instantly, but if something goes wrong with this part of the brain, it can cause blindness or make it difficult to see shapes, colors, or details. These 4 lobes of the cerebral cortex work together to create our thoughts, emotions, and actions. They allow us to interact with the world around us and make sense of our experiences. The frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital lobes may have their own types of consciousness, but they're all connected and working together to create the one consciousness we experience. Each lobe of the cerebral cortex has a specific job, but they all work together to make you, well, you. The frontal lobe helps you plan and make decisions. The parietal lobe processes sensory information. The temporal lobe handles auditory information and memory, and the occipital lobe is responsible for everything visual. Together, they make a super team of brain power. Now that you know how each lobe contributes to your overall consciousness, you can appreciate just how amazing your brain is. It is a complex and delicate organ that allows you to experience the world around you in all of its richness and complexity. So take a moment to appreciate your brain and all that it does for you.